as Natali pulls away.
All kinds of chaos on the outside there. Everyone was shooting for that orange line. That is the Whole Shot Award. Carries $1,000 with it, so it's good to get there first. And of course, I don't know if it's a big surprise that John Natali was our Whole Shot winner.
Doesn't seem to be any surprise whatsoever. But remember, last year he was injured. He was out for a very long time. In second place, that's Wienen. Avisto sits in third.
I think Joe Havisto is certainly benefiting from the fact that he's riding and touring with the Suzuki team. He is a Suzuki rider. He's not one of kind of their big three guys, but he showed some wonderful promise at the start of the season, certainly in practice and in qualifying. So there's going to be a whole bunch of guys who could do some damage with this race.
John Natali in first place. Second place back there, that's number 44, Chad Wienen. The battle is at the front. Oh, great view there.
And looking at Wienen last year to this year, he's leaned down, he looks a whole lot fitter, he's stronger, and that's allowing him to really power through every lap on the bike. And when you go through a long race like this, having that kind of power and energy is what you need to last from start to finish.
We'll let the field come through for you now. Natali, followed by Wienen. There comes Doug Gust, Harold Goodman behind him, and then Dustin Wimmer.
I don't think Wimmer got a very good start, but he now is starting to chase down and try and catch up. Interestingly enough, though, the 708, the red bike, Harold Goodman is back in the chase again. He showed so much promise last year, and something almost always happened in the middle of a race to take him out. And
an interesting ongoing battle of the manufacturers.
Well, this year, here we see Honda and Suzuki battling at it again. What we shouldn't forget, though, is Kawasaki came back in this year strong. Guys like Jason Luberg racing for them. And it's going to be a great start to the season with so many strong manufacturers.
Speaking of the start, let's take a look at it again. John Natali just rings down on that inside. There's the great look back. He was clear all the way and took the lead.
Wow, really cool start, actually. Natali is going towards the barrel on the inside there and just ducks out at the last minute to get the line and get the Quad Magazine Whole Shot. Great riding to start from John.
Battle for fourth place, Goodman, Wimmer. And look at how dusty it's getting.
Oh, you know, no matter how much water you put down here, the wind, the sun, it'll eventually beat the track down, and it really is getting badly dusty on the backside.
When you think about this battle for fourth, both these guys last year were on Honda. This year it's only Goodman.
Well, it's a big move by Suzuki, of course. Jeremiah Jones getting injured last year. The ride then went to Dustin Wimmer. They also added Chad Wienen this year. Suzuki is a powerhouse team.
And look at the fight now. Goodman, Wimmer, they go at each other. Wimmer gets around, but look at Goodman. Goodman comes right back at him. They go side by side, and Goodman gets ahead.
Well, you know what? I apologize, Harold. I spoke too soon. He really is on his game at the start of the season here. That's some great riding from the 708 to keep Dustin Wimmer at bay, because that is no easy task.
Fight continuing. The MX final here in Georgia.
I'm really surprised there. I thought Wimmer was going to take it, and once Dustin Wimmer gets past you, typically he checks out. He's just gone. But Harold Goodman almost seems to be pulling away from Dustin Wimmer.
Yeah, it's almost as if with that attempt that Wimmer has been shaken by it. He's dropped back a bit, and he hasn't really mounted a charge. Now here he comes.
Well, Dustin Wimmer's a very fast kid. He's very loose and he's very fluid on board the machine. And let's not forget, he took second place in the championship last year, and there was only like 1 point that was separating him and Doug Gust in that last race of the season. So he is a great rider, and he's charging down on Harold Goodman now.
Yeah, here comes Wimmer again. He begins to work on Goodman. You saw him close in the Suzuki bend back there. But now he comes right on him. They cross the line. Makes up a few more inches. This could be Wimmer's lap. Dustin Wimmer, 191. He's working on 708, Harold Goodman.
Now let's see if he's going to go for the inside here. Oh, yeah, Goodman makes that mistake again. He's looking for him, And you'll hear racers say, if you look behind, it costs you seconds, and that's often where you lose a race.
And in this case, it also costs position. No, Wimmer's still got to try. And now Wimmer has it.
That was really strange, Paul. I have no idea why, but Harold Goodman almost seemed to slow down on the outside. He looked back, and it was like he let Wimmer come through and pass. That was a very, very bizarre maneuver.
Well, that may in fact be why they tell you don't look in the mirrors that much. Definitely don't race the guy behind you. Racetrack belongs to you. You just hammer it. When you start focusing on who's behind you, it's pretty well guaranteed he's going to pass you.
And to that point, Goodman had been so fast, but now I think Wimmer's going to start pulling away. But look how fast John Natale Jr. is.
John Natale is so far out in front. Look at that. There's nobody even close. In fact, he's going to be contending with some of the slower machines in just a few moments.
And this is a tough track. You can see around the back section there how much the bike is bouncing around. He's really getting beaten up. And I think that's going to play pretty heavily in the story of this race when we wind down through the lap to see who can really hang on.
And John Natale continues his very solid lead here. What will Wimmer do now that he is around Goodman? Will he be able to move himself forward? One of the other questions that we will answer before the checkered flag falls on this race.
But right now, John Natale looking so smooth out front. The question is, can anybody now catch up to him?
John Natale, is he back from his injury of last year? It certainly appears so. Wimmer trying to catch him, but he has a long way to go. Stay with us.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
Right from the gate, right through the whole shop, right to this point in the race. Weenham is sitting second right now behind Natale, followed by Gust and then Wimmer. After his battle with Goodman, sits in a solid fourth.
Well, that was a big battle that he had with Goodman, too. I hope it didn't tire him out too much, but he's starting to charge. Interestingly enough, though, Harold Goodman didn't lose a lot of ground. He's now he's got the tether hanging on there to Dustin Wimmer, and he's trying to chase him down in a pretty solid fifth.
So at the front, John Natale. The question is, really, can anybody catch John Natale? And let's remind you, too, of the battle of manufacturers here, which I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about all year long.
Well, this particular battle is a Honda at the front and then 3 Suzuki sitting right behind them. Wienen, Gust, and Wimmer. That's going to be a tough challenge because maybe some team tactics can play in if they manage to reel John Natale in a little closer. I know Wienen is charging. He's looked fast all weekend, but you can never forget Doug Gust when he's out there on the track because he is the great white in the water. He keeps charging and sneaking along in every lap.
And it does show you when we talk about manufacturers and in fact some of the competitors' names like John Natale, our current leader, how important the Power Sports ATV Tour has become because more and more competitors, manufacturers are flocking to it as well as the fans.
Oh, this is it. This is the tour that every manufacturer wants to win. All of the top pros are racing this series, and it's amazing how hard they're working and how much all of the manufacturers are now putting behind this tour and these pros to really give them the sort of profile they deserve.
So John Natale, can he continue this run out in front? And remember, at this point in the game, your physical endurance begins to come in. You've had to fight this machine the entire time, pitch it back and forth, use your strength and your weight to get it to land where you want it, and it begins after a while to take its toll. All of these guys are fit, some much more fit than others.
I just love watching John Natale ride, but last year he had a lot of problem with arm pump. His arms were actually giving him a lot of trouble. Oh, look at this, 13th place right now. This is Dustin Nelson. This kid is the West Coast champion, but now he's actually getting the seat time and racing with the other top pros in the U.S. Upperman you see on the green quad there, that's one of the Kawasaki entries. So we're bringing a whole lot more into the series. A lot of new guys challenging. It's going to be great to see how well Nelson and Upperman do as the series continues and they get to race these pros more often.
Dustin Nelson on the number 94, Josh Upperman on the number 20. Again, this is well back in the field. The fight there is 13th. Good look at the machine.
Well, you know, it is great to see. It's certainly great to see Kawasaki coming back in and racing with us this year, but also bringing guys all the way out from California to race in this series. That's a testament to how much the series now means to the world of ATV racing.
The look back briefly from the leader, John Natale Jr. He is so far out in front, I don't think I saw another machine on that look back.
Well, the interesting thing is Wienen was charging for a little while at the 44 Suzuki, but now he seems to be dropping back. We haven't seen him in a while actually come up and try and challenge John.
Oh,
wow.
Natale almost got thrown off there. That was a bad landing.
You can see how tough it is this late in the race. We were talking about this arm pump, the fact that your arms just get full with blood and you literally start to lose your grip on the bars.
Chad Wienen by the side of the course. He was running second. He's now done.
Wow. That's the second time this weekend Wienen has broken down, and that's devastating for him because he looked so good. And I know the Suzuki camp is going to go back and say, what's wrong with his machine? Why are Doug and why are Dustin and Havisto so good? I know they'll get it right. He'll be back next time.
You saw John Natale take a look back. He's working lap number 9. Doug Gust, with Wienen's retirement, comes up into second place, followed, of course, by the rest of the field. But a new challenge for Natale. But if you're going to challenge that man, you're going to have to catch him first.
I keep saying it. I love watching John Natale ride. Just look at how fluid he is on top of the bike. That thing skips all the time underneath him. He tries to stay in one line, the helmet in one place, because that's what you need to do. That is where you're going to get a lot less fatigue.
In the meantime, let's take a look back to the second place racer, and that, of course, is now Doug Gust, with the retirement earlier of Chad Wienen, who gave it a good go, but obviously got into some trouble.
Well, big question is, does Gust have enough time left in this race to start eating away and chase down John Natale? It's a pretty lofty goal because he did drop quite a ways behind Wienen. Now Wienen's out. There's nothing between him and John Natale.
Well, you know, the report in from the circuit is that Chad Wienen got going again, so we're going to try to get a shot of him and figure out where he slotted in the field. Maybe we can figure out what went wrong as well, but one thing is sure, Chad Wienen dropped well back. There's a look at him, Chad Wienen, and they're scoring him currently as 8th.
Well, I mean, he looks like he never missed a beat. I mean, he looks pretty smooth. The machine seems to be going at full speed. I can only think maybe he had a little bit of an electrical problem or something pretty simple that he got started again. But that's really sad. Twice in one weekend, he has problems with his machine. And it's a bad start to the season, but expect to see a lot of great things from this young man. Yeah,
with it being the start of the season, consider this is a test match, really. You have to consider that once everybody's wandered around, look at what everybody else has done new, look at how it performs on the track now. After you get away from the first event, you will see a lot of changes. I want to go back to the topic of John Natale, though, as we take a look at him still in the lead. That one move, that one bad landing, does that tell you that maybe the injury from last year is still there and nibbling at him in some way?
Well, I just don't know, because John never really shows any problems. He may be limping around when you see him in the pits and off the bike, but as soon as he's on that machine, you think he is the fittest and healthiest individual on the earth. He does not show it.
Oh, no. Second time today. He breaks down. Whatever is going wrong there is recurrent. He got it started once. Will he get it started again?
Well, I think it's unfortunate for Wienen. He's down. He's certainly not out. It keeps firing. You can see this thing actually will get back up and on the track, but I think Chad's going to need to take this one back to the pits, get it sorted out, and make sure it's at full strength for the next race. Yeah,
he's given it everything that he can. Go back and work on it, find out what your problem is. John Natale, all alone, out in front in our very first Super Quad race of the year.
And you can see now the big ruts that are forming in this track. And you can't really tell the perspective we're looking at here through the cameras. It's tough to understand just how big the ruts in these corners are. I mean, in some of those corners, those ruts may be 6, maybe 7 feet tall, and you really are trying to ride and rail your quad around them to get the maximum speed out of them. What it does mean, though, is that if someone comes up to pass you at some point in the race, it's actually very challenging to find a second line in one of these corners once the machines have started to eat them away. You can see it there in that corner where there's really only one racing line in the corner itself.
What's amazing here is how far back second place Doug Gust is. I mean, he seldom shows in the shot. He is so far behind Natale. After you mentioned it, I began watching. We see Natale cross the finish line, taking the white flag with just one more to go, and barring some sort of catastrophic event, John Natale is going to go on and win this thing easily, but he is so very smooth. I think you used the word fluid, and that's a good description because the machine itself, going over all the ruts, the bumps, the hills, the whoops, doesn't appear to be working that much at all. And look, these other competitors are all terrific, and yet they can't even keep pace with John Natale here at the end of the race.
The hope right now is that John maybe just backs it off a little bit. He knows he's got a dominating lead. There's only about a half a lap left before he gets that checkered flag. He just needs to cool it a little bit. And I wonder, Paul, when he gets off this machine, he said this before, with that arm pump, very often he can't even feel his hands when he gets off the machine. He just knew he was hanging on, kind of this grim determination that he's got through the end of the race.
So we keep an eye now on John Natale as he sees the checkered flag line just a bit ahead. He knows he has this thing made. Doug Gust sits in second place. He is unchallenged at the moment. But boy, here goes the gauntlet down. John Natale is saying to the rest of this field, I am back, and you do what you can to beat me, but I'm not so sure, given what we're seeing here today, that anybody else has anything for Natale. So powerful, obviously healthy, looks back. There's nothing to look back to there. Doug Gust is way back. John Natale is looking for victory number 1 of this season, and obviously a big chunk of the points as he looks for a championship. John Natale Jr. takes Super Quad Pro 450 MX. We look back to the start.
Well, Natale got that great start, and he hits that orange line first. He gets the whole shot, and really just never looked back from that point.
So John Natale takes the win. He flies that machine all the way, and as Tess said, he looks so smooth, so fluid. When we come back, we'll talk with our first big winner of the season, John Natale Jr.